Technical difficulties aside, we appear to be live. That worked well, not. So, waiting for someone to join in, I think. Just seeing if anybody's there to connect. We don't appear to be streaming to YouTube though. Yeah. Right, off we go. Got a lot of technical difficulties. Has anyone got any questions while we get started? Hello Saskia, how are you? Good to see you tuning in. Seems very quiet this evening, seeing as everything appears to not want to work, which is always good. Says we're broadcasting, but we don't appear to be doing a great deal. Oh no, says we're on. Says we're streaming to YouTube and everything else as well. And we're on Twitch and we're on Periscope. If anyone wants to join in. Yes, I'm well. Oh, Sarah Louise as well. All good fun. Right, first off, me and Mr. Greenwood trying to put together a event with, say, 5 people doing a nice bit of music streamed live on a Saturday night. We'll be totally live, totally improv, half an hour each person, so 5 30-minute sets, so you're looking at a good 2.5 hours, starting at say, I don't know, 8 PM, just checking in, making sure people want to join in and if they can do it live. Technical difficulties aside, trying to make sure that it all works, with me looking after it. A little bit of working out to do, a bit of things to do with working out how we can get 3 people, 4 people, 5 people all streaming at the same time. Obviously I've been looking at bits and pieces here, so I can do things like I've just done with changing camera angles, changing what we're doing, and there we go. Be much nicer if everything worked, but it appears YouTube doesn't want to play ball this evening. There we go, I can see what people are typing. I can see if anyone's got any questions. Oh, you couldn't hear me, Mrs. Hendy. Thanks for that. Oh, Saskia, was that you, Saskia? Didn't turn up volume. Oh, muted me. Probably the best way, Saskia. Probably the best way. There's quite a few people who like to mute me in real life. But hey, there we go. So, hit me with some questions, guys. Apart from Saskia, who can't talk to me and muted me. I don't see Mr. Greenwood joining in yet. If he's there or not. Maybe he's not there. You never know. Or he could be watching on YouTube. Or Twitch. Or Periscope. Right, so I'll start off with a quick thing. I've been looking into streaming to different places simultaneously. Should work, but appears to be very difficult to actually get working in real life. The services you have to either pay for, or you have to tweak, or you have to put up with adverts. I have tried. I've had a few people ask me about webcams. They seem to have disappeared from the face of the earth still. We've still got shortages of decent webcams. The Logitech ones that everybody recommends, nowhere to be seen. And if they are up for sale, they're at stupidly inflated prices like 200 quid, when a couple of months ago they were going for 65. But hey, so I'm still making do with my two not very good webcams. The Microsoft one that's there is particularly rubbish, but it's a bit better than this one over here that would cost me a vast amount of £5. But hey, there we go. Some of the newer laptop ones appear better, but yeah, not great at all. Saskia, I've got a posh bit of software, that's all I can show for at once. Oh, hi Martin, you're on the newsfeed one. Yep. For some reason, the one that I scheduled decided it didn't want to play ball. Something that I'll have to look into, but yeah, all good fun. Scheduling things appears to be one of those things that if anything goes wrong, they just don't go live. Don't know why, but something I can look into as we're going. Very difficult because obviously it doesn't say anything until you're supposed to go live, and then it just don't work. I am recording this though, so we can always see it later and we can see what's going on. You know, I can ask the technical questions, Sean. No, Martin. Martin can ask the technical questions. What's on telly? What do you mean what's on telly? What's on telly is what you can see, because I'm in the living room on the I'm actually on Sean's computer I've borrowed because mine didn't want to play ball, so I have to say thanks to Sean because it's her computer, and yes, as mine decided that it wanted to have a lovely echo on the microphones, but hey. Oh, can always rely on Mr. Wolf to say potato, potato. But there you go. Right, so back to what me and Martin were trying to organise. 5 30-minute sets, improv. Looking at maybe doing it with one synth and one FX, so it's a bit of a technical tour de force, and then streaming it out so everyone can see it. Not quite sure of the technicalities yet, not quite sure of how it's going to work or when it's going to be, but we started the discussion, we're looking into it, got a couple of people on board. Me myself, I'm quite looking forward to it. There's lots of other things you can do if they're streaming to me and then I'm streaming it out to everybody else. That should work nicely. What I did want to talk about was the simulcasting. This should be going out to YouTube and Periscope and a couple of things. And oh, we've got 2 feeds, Martin. Yes, that might be how it's working. Yeah, it's, for some reason it's quite strange. You can with this software you can choose multiple outputs. I've got 2 outputs at the moment going, and you can have, I think it's 4 or 5 before it gives up. So that's what I've done. As I was saying, I'm using a restreaming service called Restream.io, which should send it everywhere else. Hopefully that should help. However, that was the one that seemed to be playing up. There's another one called Caster.io, and that's the one that actually decided it didn't want to work at all. So always good. And I'm using quite a high-powered PC, and I've got a good net connection, and even then, you know, you still do get issues at some stage. it's like the two IP cameras at the bottom. There is a delay on the IP cameras, and I know there is. And you can see when it's not working, and like you can see with this one, where it doesn't want to work with YouTube for whatever reason. And hopefully that's something that we can resolve. It should be popping up with the Facebook comments, but it doesn't appear to be doing that either, which is always good. Let's see if we can have a look and see what we can do. Yeah, we've not got anything there with Facebook comments at the moment. And we've not got any there with the... Oh, there they are, there's the Facebook ones. They don't want to be... Ah. Ooh, you can choose. Neither of them appears to be doing anything there, but hey! Do I reckon the amount of people using the Facebook Live now during this time is an influence on functionality? Saskia, yes, they're trying to make it easy. The only problem is Facebook Live is probably the worst one for quality. When you do Facebook Live, it does make the quality quite poor. YouTube appears much better, but I don't know. Yeah, it might be a Facebook thing, Martin. I've investigated a lot. I've spent a lot of time reading up on this. It does appear that if you want to use Facebook, they don't really like you streaming it anywhere else, which is typical Facebook. Everybody else seems quite happy to share their stuff. Facebook, yeah, don't want to share anything. It's the same with things like Twitter. You can post on Twitter and then Twitter will post that on Facebook. If you post on Facebook, it doesn't post on Twitter, which is very bizarre. I've done it quite a lot, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Same with YouTube. You have something on Facebook and YouTube should pick it up, but it doesn't want to. You can upload to YouTube and it's much better quality, of course, but a lot of people have said the problem with that is, of course, is how long it takes to upload something. If you encode something at high value, high resolution, high bit rate, it can take hours. But then again, if you go the other way, so you put a YouTube video up and then play it on Facebook, the quality is actually reduced a lot. Facebook reduces the quality down a lot. I think the problem there is obviously the amount of bandwidth people have got, and Facebook uses mobile data, etc., and I think it's optimised down. If it's on your phone, it doesn't look too bad, but your phone screen tends to be a lower resolution, and also because the phone screen's actually physically smaller, it looks better. But hey, you know, if it's on my wall, Martin, yeah, it should be, but I do know that earlier on today Facebook was doing the old I'll show you posts from 3 weeks ago, which never helps. I mean, it's really weird here as well because I can watch myself on Facebook with a delay, but hey, all good fun. As regards anything else, the biggest thing that I see with this, the biggest problem I see, regardless of anything else, is you're very dependent on people's internet connection. We've got a pretty fast internet connection here, and even ours has got a delay. Me and Sean timed it last time and we reckoned it's about 6 or 7 seconds. So I guess if I say, how long until you hear this, Sean? 2. About 7 seconds, yeah. Now, there's nothing you can do about that. It's live, but it's not perfectly live. And I know that the same goes for YouTube. It's about 8 or 9 seconds behind, and the other ones as well. With a live improvisation with a piece of music, that's not too bad, I don't think. But it's very difficult trying to organise all this, especially if other people have not got such good internet connections. If you throw wireless into the mix, then you tend to find that the delay's even longer, maybe 10, 12 seconds, simply because the technology is not there. If you just go live on Facebook on your laptop, for example, the delay is not too bad at all. It seems to work quite well. But it's the worst quality by a long way. If you go to some of the others, quality is much better. YouTube appears to be the best. You can quite easily do a 1080p stream to YouTube. However, we're back to the thing that trying to get people to watch and how many people you've got and commenting and see what's going on. Facebook has probably got the most people, the most traction, the most way of getting people to organise with. So it's a balancing act. I mean, I'm sitting here with 2 webcams and 2 IP cameras and a microphone and some other bits and pieces, and I don't think it's too bad. A lot of people have said the best quality is to go for a GoPro, film in 4K, use a little USB adapter that takes the HDMI stream and do that. But I know for a fact that a lot of people won't be able to watch a 4K stream. They just haven't got the fast enough internet and the bandwidth. And a lot of people who are looking on a laptop haven't got a HD screen on their laptop. I mean, the laptop I've got here has got a HD screen, but even so, the stream isn't HD. You know, it's one of those things. I don't think Facebook is too bad when it downscales it to 720p, but I don't think it's that good either. It's one of those things you go round in circles. When I'm sitting here and I'm getting all my what's happening, it tells me how many viewers I've got and it tells me everything else, and it's telling me that we're getting frames dropped, and I don't think I'm pushing this too hard, so I know that other people are going to get frames dropped. Now if we're doing a music thing, I'm not too bothered about frames being dropped, but when you get frames being dropped you also tend to get audio glitches, so you know, might even be better to only broadcast in 720p because the bandwidth's a lot less. But you're up to this thing here. I mean, like I said, I've got 2 webcams going here, and they're not as good as the IP cameras. The IP cameras are much better, but the IP cameras are about half a second to a second behind. So it's one of those things. I've also got a bar graph going showing me that I'm speaking, just for me, so I can see if anyone can hear what I'm hearing, because that's an indication of what's going on. You can do quite a lot of things with the software. OBS is pretty good for broadcasting on. You can send it to multiple sources and everything else. This software I'm using is called S.P.A.C.E, which is slightly different. I found it to be slightly better for me. However, you're still at the vagaries of internet connection, bandwidth, etc. else. I mean, I've got a little thing down here called an Elgato Stream Deck. I can click this and just, like I can do that, you see, I can swap to a different scene, or swap to another scene if I program it. You know, and this should be picking up the live stream, and the widgets there should be picking up and telling me what's going on with people chatting, but we don't seem to be having any of that. So I could do this, I can go off to when it picks it up. This should be the IP camera, I think. And there we go. As you can see, there's a delay. Mind you, you can see that we've got the nice projector on as well in the background. But it's still technically at early stages with this live streaming. I think if you wanted to do a real, proper, good quality one, you make the video, record the video, and then stream it afterwards. I think that's the way you do it, rather than doing it like this. But then that takes away the live bit and the performance, doesn't it? You know, it'd be like a YouTube video then. So, you know, I think technically the best quality you're going to get is out of a fairly decent webcam with an audio interface, and then mixing it and then sending it into the audio interface. So for the musicians out there, I think that's the way to go. I had quite a lot of people asking me about microphones. Obviously, microphone technique is way different to this, and this is going to sound terrible, but a lot of the better microphones are not actually better for doing a live stream. This cheap microphone works better than my 50 quid microphone. You can hear better, and it's nicer, and it sounds better, which is bizarre. However, I'm not going into an audio interface, because my audio interface is into my computer that's set up to do my music, and possibly what I should have been doing is using that computer with the audio interface to record and broadcast. But the software is not set up on there, and I haven't done it that way. I have got a wireless microphone which I'm not using at the moment, which means that I could walk around, but that's something for the future. Here we are with hardware, and I'm just talking away, and all these people are finding it quite difficult. You still swapping between the two, Martin, or are you watching just one now? Yeah, it's all getting people to watch. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you set it up as an event and do it, I think that's probably the best way. This software will also record the live stream, so you could possibly upload it to YouTube or somewhere afterwards for people to watch, but then it won't be live, like I said. However, I imagine that if you did that, rendered it out nicely, the quality would be better. You know, and with a better quality webcam, then obviously I think that's the best quality you're going to get. But I've been looking to try and get myself a Logitech webcam to help with streaming, and none to be had unless you want to pay through the nose. I know Martin's got himself, or he's getting himself, a GoPro. He's going to try that way, and hopefully that will help. I've seen some Facebook posts with webcams going for sale, but by the time I look at them, they're already gone. They're literally gone within 10, 15, 20 minutes of being put up. So it shows that everybody wants to have a high quality webcam. You know, and the laptop ones are pretty diabolical, to be fair, most of the time. One thing I did want to say is it's come to my attention, shall we say, that Zoom is a bit dodgy. Lots of people are saying that they've been Zoom bombed. You know, people using the whiteboard facility to write nasty things on there. And security wise it's not very good. I did look at Google Hangouts, but you have got to have a Google account and you've got to log in, and we know that Google will love to use all your data to do whatever, same as Facebook do. So security wise that doesn't seem to be great. The only thing I will say about Zoom is that obviously you could have 10 people at one go, all at the same time, playing together. Don't know what the latency would be like and whether or not you could actually synchronise them together, but you know, you could possibly do that. There are ways and means of sending MIDI time clock over the internet. Quite a few ways of doing it, in fact. Even Ableton Live Link will work over the internet, but we're back to the vagrancies of will it keep up in time. I don't think that system is set up if you've got variances of like plus or minus 3 seconds. You know, the technology is quite easy, quite simple. There's also Martin is swapping with trying the options. Yeah, I think I've actually got it set up that this is sending one stream to Facebook and one stream to the rebroadcaster. So you might think that find that the Facebook stream is actually slightly ahead of the other one. When you send a stream, technically wise, we're talking sending the stream to the broadcaster. They send the stream out. They actually buffer it for a second or two before they send it to all the other people. So I know it's slightly slower, which might be the reason why this has got a glitch. But it was telling me that there was no stream, so I turned on the Facebook one. But there you go. I can't see how many people are watching on YouTube either, but hey, I should be able to, but I can't. Let's have a look and see what it says if I actually log into YouTube. We might see if anything's happening. Yeah, not signed in. Well, there we go. In we go. Yeah, it's telling me that live stream discussion is live. Oh yes. And it is. I can comment on the own thing. How bizarre. There we go. Works well. Seems to be. And it's better quality. Jez hasn't got a comments box. Can you not comment, Mr. Jez? I wonder why that is. See you later, Saskia. You've had enough of me waffling away. I don't know why there isn't a comments box. It is public, but then again, like I say, Facebook's a law unto itself. So, if anybody's got any questions, fire ahead. We're half an hour in. I'm sick of the sound of my own voice. Gosh, I wonder how you get on, Sean, with listening to me all day. Hello, Mr. Wright, how are you? See you there. Anyone got any questions? Got anything you'd like to ask Mr. Wright? I see you there. I know that you've been looking into this. You might be an option for someone to do a live jam later on with us if we get this thing off the ground, especially seeing as you've moved all your studio around to accommodate. What I did see was there's several ways of sending streams to people. There's something called RTMP and something called RTMS. Both of those, the R and the T is for real time. RTMP is what a lot of IP cameras and a lot of software uses, and that's what I'm using to rebroadcast this over. Facebook uses its own protocol because they like to be different. YouTube uses a version of RTMTPS, which is encrypted, so it's all good fun. Zoom, which everyone's looking into, uses RTMP, which is why it can be hacked, because it's not encrypted. And Zoom also uses a public key, which is the security aspect. And if you use Zoom's standard settings, anybody can get in because there's no key. As long as you know what the meeting's set up as, the URL of the meeting, you can get in and join, which is why people don't like it. The reason that's done is because using the 3.1, the option's buried somewhere to do your privacy and to make it encrypted. There's Skype you can use as well, and this software here will let you do a screen grab, so you could do a Skype call, I suppose, or Google Hangouts and do a screen grab. There's loads of ways of doing it. Oh, Mr. Wright, completely new to this live stream thingy. Pick up tips. Get yourself a nice webcam. That's what my tip is. And then route the audio through your audio interface and stream it like that. That's my tip. And don't do it to Facebook if you can help it. The quality for YouTube, like I said, is much better. However, as I'm finding out, the comments box on YouTube appears to be particularly rubbish. So you can't see what people are doing. However, what I can see here is, oh yeah, we've got a few people watching. Yeah, it's this live streaming thing's very good. The better your internet, the better your stream will be. And if you can not use wireless and not use Wi-Fi, it's even better again. Wi-Fi is a great idea. However, the biggest problem with Wi-Fi is the latency goes up, and latency is why a lot of these things sometimes appear a bit blocky. I've got a nice picture of our living room there with our IP camera, I see. If you're going to do a serious live stream for a musician, I am on YouTube apparently, Martin. You can find it, it's just on my... Yeah, it's under Adrian Hendy apparently. So, that's the only thing. I don't know why it didn't want to work, but it is definitely going out. It says I'm online, so... Yeah. As I was saying to Gary, I think what you need to do with that, Gary, is you need to get your audio interface or your mixer sorted out and then pass it through to Facebook. If you've got a laptop with a webcam, then yeah, you can do that. But you want to get your audio decent. So I think with all of this, the biggest thing you've got is just trying to get it as good as you can on your end with the best hardware you've got. If you've not got good hardware, I'm afraid to say you're going to struggle. It's quite simply, it's not as easy as it sounds. I've spent quite a lot of time doing this, and it's yeah, it's one of those things. Give me 2 seconds, Martin. I'll give you the YouTube. YouTube link is here for you, Martin, coming up when it loads. Oh, I love it when it does that. Oh, you found it? Cool. Glad to see it, because when you try and do it, when you try and comment, Facebook is an infinite wisdom. Sticks it everywhere. Oh, technology, eh? Technology. Gotta love it. And I'm supposed to know what I'm doing. You got any more questions, Mr. Wright? I'm trying to work out and help you, seeing as you seem to be new to the game. Got a lot of musicians who are getting phasing sounds when playing guitar. Not all of them have separate mics, so I guess it's a laptop mic. Is there anything they can do? Paul, laptop mics have got nearly all the time. They use an array of microphones, they use 2 or 3. If there's an option in the settings for noise cancelling or echo cancelling, turn it off, and that makes a difference. Some of the laptops have only got one mic and they're not so bad, or just use a separate mic. And like I said, one mic, centre of the room, tends to be better. The phasing is because as they're playing, the microphones can't cope, so they cut out and have a go at doing it. It's the same as if you try and... When you see someone go to a gig and take a video at a gig, quite often you'll hear the sound goes all over the place. That's because the phone is trying to accommodate the music, and it has a bad idea, doesn't do a good job. What I would say to most people, if you're going to do it as a musician, either straight into the audio interface and do it like that with one mic, or if you've got to use the laptop mic, see if you can find the noise cancelling settings. If not, get a cheap mic and plug it into the laptop input, and there you go. The sync was better on YouTube. Yeah, I think YouTube's better, Martin. I would use YouTube if you could. You know, I mean, the problem you've got is a lot of people use Facebook. Not everybody uses YouTube. I imagine if you wanted to get the best quality, then just stream straight to YouTube. But I think you'll also miss out on 80% of your people watching. You know, if I look at the figures, everybody's got Facebook. Not a lot of people go on YouTube. You also get adverts if you haven't got YouTube Premium. So, you know, I think that's the issue, isn't it? I mean, I think if you could get away with it, I would literally produce a video and then stick it on. But you lose a live. I know that you'd probably be able to do better like that. But there you go. I think at the end of the day, Mr. Monks, you're dependent on your hardware again. And if your hardware is not as good, I think that's one of the issues. Like I said, I'm here with my super cheapo mic, and that's better than using the inbuilt laptop mic, and it's also better than using the expensive condenser mic. The laptop mic is super cheapo, and I mean super cheapo. You know, it's honestly nothing special. You know, I think there we go. Oh, Mr. Wright, think along the lines of audio out from the mixer into the audio interface. What if it does bug me? So they just use the microphone on. Yeah, we're back to this thing here. A lot of people's hardware, Gary, is not along the lines of anywhere near professional quality. Problem you've got is with a lot of these things, if you want to use your phone, which might be the only thing you've got. A lot of people say you've got an iPhone. You've got no easy way of getting a decent audio line into an iPhone. The adapters just don't exist like they used to. If you've got an Android phone, the cheap USB ones tend to work. And quite a lot of Android phones, for example, all the Samsungs I've ever had, I've got an audio input in on the headphone. So you can actually, if you know how to do it, get a decent audio input. It is monophonic, but you can get a decent monophonic in from out of your audio interface into an Android phone. On an iPhone, it's a lot harder. If you've got an older iPhone with the 30-pin socket, then you've got quite a lot of audio interface options. Lightning's not got as many options for getting audio in, which is why you don't see them as much. I think Apple said they went for a smaller connector, but nasty in me says they got rid of a lot of their functionality because it meant people wouldn't be doing things like they were doing. It's like Bluetooth. It's quite difficult to get Bluetooth audio into an iPad or into an iPhone, whereas on an Android phone it's fairly easy. It's just one of those things. It's a closed environment. However, I will say that Android phones have got rubbish apps for making music, so it works both ways. You know? Oh yeah, you've got a 4K camcorder, haven't you, Gary? What outputs has it got? If it's got HDMI out, for you, the easiest thing is to get something called a cam link from a company called Elgato, but you're looking at about 100 quid if you can get one. And then that takes the HDMI and it converts that into a format and you stream it in. What was that, Sean? Sit up. Oh, I'm being told off. I can't. Apparently no one can see me because I'm not sitting up.
Oh, you can see your belly.
Oh, you can see my belly. It's my best bit. I think Martin's looking at doing that with his GoPro. Some of the other cameras that are out there, some of the cheaper action cameras, will actually do video out over USB. So you effectively can get a 4K video out over USB. Yeah, we're back to this thing of how good they are. I mean, I've got a Samsung Gear 360. You can stream off that. If you connect it to the computer and use the Samsung app, you can actually stream in 360 degrees video and people can look at it. But the microphone on those is awful, and there's no easy way to use the microphone in, because I've looked and checked. So again, we're back to this. I think if you really were doing this and you wanted to promote an event, the issue you've got is getting some nice 4K cameras and a multi HDMI in, and then an in that from your mixing desk, and then streaming it out is not cheap. And all these people who are doing these 4K streams that you see out there are throwing serious amounts of hardware at this to work. Yes, Paul, she was quite loud, wasn't she? What make is your 4K camera then, Gary? Because if you've got a half decent one with the right software, obviously like I said, the USB, if it's enabled and it's got the right software, you can get it in. A lot of them will send the video using RTMP, which means they effectively act like an IP camera. If you look at these two cameras at the bottom, so I've got two webcams at the top and then there's two IP cameras at the bottom. So if you look, by doing that, look, you'll see there's a delay on the IP camera. However, the IP cameras are much better picture quality. That's how your webcam will work. Oh, it's Panasonic, should be quite decent. My mic's plugged in, Martin, to the front of the computer and it's sitting on the table in front of me. So for that question, there you go. If I switch to the IP camera stream for Gary, which is there, what you'll see is it takes about a second to catch up. There you go. And it's about a second behind me. But it tends to be much better quality. So you pay your money and takes your pick. If you were doing HDMI out on your Panasonic, that'll probably be your best audio quality. And if you're doing HDMI out, the delay, the latency is very, very little, probably under half a second. So your audio and your music will be pretty much synchronised. But you need to have a decent USB adapter, and like I said, the Elgato one that I've seen is 120 quid, is the cheapest I've seen it. And I've looked, and everybody trying to do this, people are charging 200 quid because it's out of stock everywhere again. Logitech webcams, I've got stereo mics, they're not too bad. they're probably the best way for a lot of people doing it. If you can find one, Logitech, I asked them and they said they're about 3 weeks away from getting stock again. The C920 and the C930 and the C922, they're all roughly the same kind of webcam. They should be retail prices £80 for the C920 and £100 for the C922, but they're not around that price. Stop moving the camera, Sean. That's the only problem with having an IP camera, when your wife moves it. USB mics are alright, Paul, but again you'll get a bit of latency with USB. I don't understand why your Scarlett only sends it out of one speaker. It shouldn't do. Oh, Jez has left us because you can't see. I think, Martin, it's because Jez isn't actually my friend on Facebook. I think is the answer to that one. And I think that not being your friend means you don't get a comment box. Yeah, as for your answer there, Paul, yeah, USB mics are alright, but to be honest with you, well, I'll answer that one because Jez is now a friend. Right, it should be back now. Yeah, it's there's no excuse for hardware, I'm afraid. It's like everything else. If you want to do your music seriously, the more hardware you've got, the better you are. It's quite difficult. It's the better the webcam, the better your quality. The better the audio interface, the better the quality. And doing it simply just through Facebook is not great. If you do it through some software, like there's OBS, there's XSplit, there's a few of the other ones, anything like that makes life a lot easier. You can multi-stream or whatever. If you just connect using your Facebook Live account, it works well, but it's capped and there's not a lot you can do. You can't choose a lot of the options. You're stuck with the video quality. I know it's downsampled to 720. You know. Oh no, we're sorted with Jez, Gary. Don't worry about that. Yeah, the more money you throw at the hardware, unfortunately, the better your results. And if you're using software, like I've got the software running here, and I've got my 4 cameras coming up, it makes life a lot easier. Just having your laptop and just pointing your webcam at you and trying to use the internal mics is not great. Your phone, depending on your phone, if you've got one of the better phones, then it's not too bad. It's quite a lot of this is hardware based. You know, for a lot of people, it's probably better taking the video and mixing it afterwards. If you can record it and then stick it in a video editor and edit it afterwards, your quality is going to be much better. However, you're not in a live performance, and that's the issue, isn't it? To be in a live performance, you know, you're at these vagaries. I mean, having a venue that's got decent broadband and you've got some decent cameras, you could probably do a really good live stream. But as we're in lockdown, that's not going to happen. If you're doing one-on-one, there are ways of doing one-on-one that's got even better quality. But if you're trying to broadcast to an audience like this, that's where you fall down. You know, Facebook is a great tool in many ways, but they are the worst probably for your audio and video quality. YouTube is the best, but people have got to find you, got to subscribe. Oh, hi Jez, yeah. Jez, they'll come on your iPod. Yeah, the comments will come up. You know, it says there's 77, Jez, and I can only see the last few because they scroll off the bottom. So it's one of those. Again, you know, Facebook is not the best in a lot of ways. It's got strange things with permissions. I mean, this is a public stream, and yet I know a lot of people can't see it. You know, if they've got their privacy cranked up high, then they can't comment. It's part and parcel of being on Facebook. You need to go through your whole of your security settings and double check. You know, I can't add and invite people a lot of the time because their security settings are set up so that you can't. But there you go. Right, we've got 6 minutes left. Have you got any burning questions there, Mr. Creek, before I address anything else? See Mr. Dyson's knocking about somewhere as well. I know Jez has got OBS set up. OBS is great. OBS is also free. So if anybody wants to have a dabble in live streaming, I do recommend getting OBS. It runs quite well. You can use multiple streams. If you've got a laptop and a webcam, and the webcam built in, you'll have 2 streams, for example, which you can use. You've got a decent laptop with decent microphones, you're halfway there. If you've got a decent phone, then yeah, you can stream it like that. But you can't stream to more than one. You're limited to, say, Facebook on its own, or say YouTube on its own. Not really got any questions, Jez? No worries. I think you've had a play with OBS and found it quite easy. All I'd say with OBS is if you want to go into it in more detail, then getting scenes working is the way to do it. If you change scenes, then you can do quite a few things. So scenes works quite well. And yeah, you know, that's scenes there. Gary, if you've got Wi-Fi on your camera and something about Ustream, then yeah. The problem is a lot of them disable. A lot of the webcams and the action cams, USB is disabled, so you can't actually stream via USB. You know, you can stream via Wi-Fi, but not USB. There's hacks out there. I mean, I've got a Xiaomi Yi camera, which is great. However, the Xiaomi is great, but USB is not enabled. You can hack into it and get the Wi-Fi stream. Me, Jez, I'm using XSplit. XSplit is something that came out. It's rather like OBS. It works almost the same. The only difference is XSplit likes my IP cameras more. That's the only reason. OBS is installed. OBS is better for some things. XSplit. What XSplit does is, XSplit, you have to have an account, and when you log in, your accounts are stored on their servers. So what that means is, if you've got no internet connection, you can't get into XSplit. However, it ties into things like Facebook a lot easier. OBS, you have to add your output. So when you add an output to, say, Facebook Live or whatever, then that's what you do. What that means with OBS is if you want to stream to YouTube or Facebook Live, you've got to hook into their software. XSplit, yeah, that's it. XSplit.com is the website. The only thing with XSplit is when it's free, because it's online, there's a lot of things you can't do. So you're limited to 4 scenes, you're limited to 1 output. And it ends up being at, I think it's $60 a year. Depends if you want to do that at all. A lot of these software things that are out there now are going to a monthly fee. I mean, Microsoft Office has gone to a monthly fee near enough. Adobe want you to have a monthly fee, so they're buying the software outright. I would imagine, in all honesty, that Windows will go that way as well. And there'll be a stage. I think the only reason they haven't done it so far is the big companies are resisting. Yeah, Jez, that's one way of doing it for Gary. It depends on what you can do. But I think with Gary's camera, he's limited to HDMI out and USB out. You know, there are some ones there that do that repurpose the USB connector to give you a composite video out. If you use them, then you'll get an even better quality. The only thing with composite is it's limited to about 800 by 600 resolution. So, you know, that's why HDMI is used. But HDMI needs to be decoded, and you need an adapter to do that. HDMI is actually compressed as it's sent over the cable. That's why it's like it is. That's how you can get up to 4K. Well, actually up to 8K through one HDMI cable, because the streams are actually compressed. I think Jez's video grabber is quite a cheap one, I think, Martin. But there you go. Right, I think it's about time to wrap up. It's telling me that it's 21:59. Yeah, Gary, I can point you in the right direction for a video grabber. The one that I recommend is the Elgato Camlink 4K, but like I said, it's not cheap. However, it's the best one. So, yeah, but there we go. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 10 o'clock and it's time for me to go. Any questions, keep giving me whatever. Gary, just for your connection, for your question, there's no AV connector out. The cheap ones will do it, but a lot of them, the problem is the drivers or the software support's not great. But it's up to you. You pay your money and takes your pick. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm out of here. You all take care now. And yeah, we'll get something sorted with this live gig, and we'll look at more live discussions to come up. Take care. Bye bye.